Hello and welcome to the Citi Newsroom. My name is Frema Adunyame.
And my name is Nathan Quao. Coming up.
Supreme Court gives Electoral Commission green light to hold referendum in areas where there are proposals to create new regions.
Colleges of Education teachers vow not to back down on their ongoing strike unless their salaries are paid.
Also, we will take you to Kiosk Estate, one of Accra's growing slum areas, as we continue our series on slums in the Greater Accra region.
And later, a little over 100,000 residents of Adenta issued Ghana cards as the registration exercise at Adenta comes to an end. Next stop is Lankwantanan.
Now the news in detail. It is easy to take for granted the simple things in life, like living in a home built with blocks and cement with running water and a window you can open at any time, but not when you live in a small and hot kiosk.
In the following feature by Ni Ama, he explores life in what has become a kiosk estate, blossoming within one of Accra's choicest neighborhoods.
Spintex, your typical urban town in Accra, is busier than ever. The area gets its name from the 4.93 kilometers road parallel to the Tema motorway that cuts through it. It is an interesting mix of commercial, industrial and residential structures. On the Spintex road, there is nothing you cannot find. Big malls, banks, offices, eateries, hotels, and not forgetting the frequent traffic congestion. But it is this same interesting mix at Spintex that divides it most. On one hand, its factories and commercial entities attract to it lower income earners as workers. On the other hand, its plush homes and residential facilities attract the upper class, both Ghanaians and non-Ghanaians. In this area alone, about 10 estates can be found. A home at the Regimano estate can go as high as $3,000 a month for rent, not to talk of purchasing it. But amidst the plush homes and busy factories off the Spintex road, an unusual kind of community grows bigger and bigger. The kiosk estates have become a haven for over 3,000 people. Just around the KICC church, 3 of such communities can be noticed. Equator, the smallest of the 3, takes its name from this biscuit factory. Here, I meet Kofi Agbemele, who has lived in this slum for 12 years.
I am a 49 years old man now, and we are living here, if I'm not mistaken, almost 12 good years. We don't have a problem with anybody. As I'm talking to you now, there are some areas they say people should move from there because of road issues, and then but from the point where we are now, we don't have such problem. And I'm a married man with 4 kids, 2 girls, 2 boys. So we are all fine, no problem. The ladies are in the university now. The first boy is at Kumasi, Edumai School, Senior High. And the last one is 14 years now. It's also Benjamin Agbemele. He's in TSS 3. So there's no big deal. But the major problem now is, though we are living in kiosks, you can see around, and there is a kiosk. It is because there is no money to buy a land, to build and move in. So for now, we are living in the kiosk. If you don't have what you want and what you get, you must, move with it. I don't think anybody will be happy by living in the kiosk. When you are in, as soon as you speak in with your wife, anybody passing by at the back can hear what you are saying. But if you are in the building and building fence again, there's a fence wall, you can do whatever even sometimes you'll be shouting in, but it will be difficult for somebody passing by to hear. But when you are in the kiosk is at the roadside, there's nothing you can do. So you are in the kiosk, you know how to do your things. They say that when you are living in the glass house, you don't throw stone.
Finding an affordable room in Spintex to rent is almost impossible as a factory hand like Kofi. Considering his meager salaries and the average rent of room in Spintex, he's compelled to go in for the cheaper option, a kiosk.
You are staying somewhere, let me see, Kumasi, let me see, where? Dowenya, Afienya, Sogakope, then, and your work is somewhere closer here, behind Equator, cocoa processing and Royal Crown, around Coca-Cola. And the building now in this area, you can't afford it. The rent, when they give you the price, you cannot. Look at your salary and check if you can pay a rent, 1 month's rent. If you don't take them, even the rent is more than your salary. You cannot eat. So it's better you look for a kiosk, which price is down. So if you rent the kiosk, the price is down. When you get your so-called salary, let me put it that way, it's salary, boom, but because it's too small, you can pay your rent to the kiosk owner and you can survive with the rest. So it's not a matter of being happy, being in the kiosk, but there's nothing you can do. You don't have any option to stay in the kiosk. Till you get money, you buy your land, you build your small house, then you go in. There's a gutter around. If you get up, you can go around and see. There's a gutter. When you raise, the water pass through the gutter. For the toilet, you have a public toilet around here. You go to toilet. And for we, you know, everybody in every house, you can get a boiler. So we have a 3-cycle motor who is passing every day. If today your boiler is not full up, you keep it for tomorrow, the next day. Maybe the day your own is not full up, somebody's own is full up. So there is a 3-cycle motor who is passing by to collect rubbish for around there. We pay for it.
But Kofi Agbamola has managed to get for himself a complete home, which seems to lack nothing.
These are our baggages. You can see my bag. You have only one bed.
Can I do the
because there is a light, you have only one fan, so that you can sleep, you know, because of the heat.
Yeah.
You are in the kiosk, the sun is directed to the...
It costs between 1,500 and 2,000 cedis to put up a structure here. I understand in just a day, the project can be completed. The people who live here do not live here by choice. They complain that during the day, the hot weather makes living in their rooms unbearable. But with many of them earning just an average of 300 cedis per month, they have no choice but to continue living in these kiosks. It's a hard life here at the kiosk estates. This enclave alone houses over 400 kiosks. Dealer, a factory hand, lives in one of them.
No, not actually up to my happiness, but due to the condition. Sometimes the place you are coming to work at this side, before you get to work, is late, traffic and things, transport, it costs a lot. So, you just have to put some things together, some place together, managing the kiosk, just to maintain your work and all this. That cost has to be here. Yeah, it's true. The pay is not the best. The companies are not doing well for us here at all. Their mind is, if it's not good for you, go. Someone will come, more go, more come. Yeah, the pay is not helping. Imagine you are working for 30 days, a whole month, company is paying you 300 cedis, high 400 cedis and things. You yourself, imagine, what can they do for you? You can sustain yourself with that money. If only government can do something about that, I think it can help us. But it happens that we've been this side, government is not looking up to us at all. Maybe when time reaches for election, MPs, ministers comes around, vote for me, this and that, made a lot of promises. After the election, they know you no more. Someone who come in during the election time, give you his number, anything, call me. After the election, if you call the number, you no more picks up your call, or sometimes switch off. You can't get the person until the next election again. They are not doing anything for us here at all. So some of us, we plan that election time, none of them should come to our end here, because we're not going to give them our vote again anymore.
These kiosks are situated on privately owned and undeveloped lands. Caretakers charge new arrivals 300 cedis to site a kiosk here. Residents will also pay a monthly rent of between 20 cedis to 40 cedis to private owners of the land or their caretakers. Living in the kiosk estate is plagued with uncertainty. Residents would not know when they would be evacuated by the landowners to make way for a building project. These newcomers have just suffered a similar fate. Today, I am visiting another kiosk village in Spintex. It is only a 7-minute drive from the KICC line, but here there seems not to be much space for new occupants. Kiosk owners at the Saud Backyard Kiosk Village do not have to pay rent for the land. The government owns the land here, which houses at least 150 kiosks with over 450 inhabitants. 44-year-old Ananeseyam Abraham has been in the area for 15 years. He has all he needs in his small kiosk, even a bathroom.
It's about 2 years now, but I live around here about 15 years now. And this community or these quarters, they live here about 50 years now. For the beginning, there's nobody living around here. Here is the motorway stretch land, and there's a major pipe of the boom line around here. And one of the brother called Mr. Patrick make a mind to create one kiosk around here to be selling small things inside. As he started it, a lot people got to join the Mr. Patrick, and I also joined him making the structure, and it come like that. It come like that, and this area has become as a living place. According to the sources, the yard we live, the owner of the yard is called Mr. Saud, and the yard owner dominate the place, and we call still the place Saud Backyard. His yard is nearby the place, so Saud the Backyard, Saud Backyard. Right now we can see we have about 150 plus kiosks around here, and the people approximately we can say we are having like 450 people around here. It's not part of our plan to stay in kiosks, but it's because of some situation I decided to manage myself in some ways. Accommodation is a big problem, and that is why I decided to join myself in a kiosk living. Nowadays, before you get a single room around the Spintex around here, you spend at least 200 to 250 a month. If the owner demand 2 years advance, it's quite a bit a problem. And the around too, sometimes you cannot get accommodation around quickly like this. You have to go to around Nungua, Teshi, Ashama, and the other location before you can get accommodation. That's why I manage myself in the kiosk.
So this area, what kind of people usually live here? Are they factory hands? Are they coming from Accra? What kind of people are here?
Yeah, the people are here. I can say they are all factory hands. And the women's, they are petty traders. They went to the market and bought their petty things and come and sell around here. Some of them, they went to the market around Ashama, Medina, to sell their products and come back again. And the men, most of the boys and the men too, they are factory hands. And some of them, they are self-employees, they are lotto writers and those kind of works. For this area, no. You know how to pay for the land, but the land, if you get the space, is free because nobody entitled of taking money from anybody for the land. If you get the space, you create your own kiosk free. It's not the land. In fact, the place we are living here, the land because belong to Teshi Ulume, Teshi chiefs. So sometimes they do follow up to come and see us and talk with us. Yeah, the land belongs to Teshi. For the transplant fats, it's a cool place for living because sometimes we do create some bad image of ourselves. Our environment become well to live. But sometimes we inhabitants, if we take care of the place and we love each other, no kind of some type of behaviors are not dealing within us. You can say the place is cool to live.
However, he wishes that government's affordable housing project would be completed soon.
Affordable houses to be outlined for the squatters too. As you can see, only problem we have here is the bridge because of the small stream around us. We are passing about the pipe stretch or the pipeline. Only if government can help create a bridge for us, if our children from school, they can cross easily this gutter is flowing.
Shanties like this are going by the minute in Accra, and it's estimated that there's a 1.7 million housing deficit in Ghana. We hear of several affordable housing projects that are uncompleted, yet people are living in kiosks like this. This is why it is needed that these projects are completed so as to find a better life for the people who live here. Reporting for Citi News from the Saud backyard here in Spintex in Accra, my name is Ni Ama.
Let's get to the Brong-Ahafo region, where traders at the old Sunyani market face a daily battle with nature due to the absence of toilet facilities for use. Citi News' Michael Sapon visited the area where traders told him they had resorted to defecating in polythene bags as a response to the problem.
The old Sunyani market, established years ago, is one of the oldest markets in the Brong-Ahafo region, but has not seen any major rehabilitation over the years. The market, which houses over 1,000 traders, lacks a toilet facility. The situation has become a major source of worry for the traders. According to them, the facility has been neglected despite the daily toll of 50 pesos to the Sunyani Municipal Assembly.
We don't have any toilets around, we don't have any urinal. The ones that we even have around are very far. It will take you about 10 minutes before you walk to that place. So it's a big problem to all the people in the market. We will be very happy if the assembly can help us with a big toilet and a big toilet facility and a urinal, because when it gets to the evening time, all the women around comes and dump their urinal in the gutter around, and it stinks when it's daytime. So it's a big worry to us.
Say for you want to go to private, you have to keep to yourself to your limit so that you take time. When you go here, there is only one toilet there. But if you are in a hurry, you have to go to the charge station. That place is too far. So we want some toilets here so that it will make it easy for us. Unless if you are running stomach and you are going too far, you spoil your body. So if the Sunyani Municipal will do general for us so that we can be easy for us.
Amania yehu ojomu hano. Se si ameka se junso kan. Ana opese okọ private a. Enya asem getwa. Me pay okra na kita mi. Aha, jom ha ya na yegina Johnson edu enyimra yakope baabi ahia to agu. Toilet ni ha. Baabi a ye Johnson eni ha. Ensem bebre assembly for no tickets kora on be chaye no. Lorry park tickets eno omo de bre. Ye bisa question a. Omo se nia omo panimfo de ama omo se ye nyusu no. Omo ti ye da bia. Omo mmodea so mbeboa ye. Na ye benya baabi a ye be Johnson. Any baby a yebeko toilet na nokureni a se fem say yeti dwa kakaraka we mu na da bia mo beti ye ticket we na ye ni baby a ye Johnsonpo aka mbesa ato agya na bia
ehu amane pa se nam sentin croford Johnson agates no mo de rubber ni ade na ye choked nti omo maye bi maye after obi su back toilet obi back room no be so baby akọ isi ne hu a wonya baby a this our cultural station and I say we have GPIT for one toilet for the whole market into a bad. Too bad.
Efforts made to the Sunyani Municipal Assembly to provide toilet and urinal facilities have been unsuccessful. This is the state of the Sunyani old market. This market was constructed decades ago, but as we speak, there's not a single toilet or a urinal in this market. The traders are therefore calling on the Sunyani Municipal Assembly to construct at least a toilet and a urinal for them. For Citi News, I am Michael Saponinfum.
Now in some other news, should trainee teachers across the country prepare for the cancellation of the current academic semester? That is the unanswered question as a national strike by the Colleges of Education Teachers Association enters its 22nd day. With students desperate and striking teachers resolute, Citi News' Ashanti regional reporter Hafiz Tijani has been monitoring developments. Now we move on, and the Supreme Court has given clearance to the Electoral Commission to hold a referendum in selected areas where there are proposals to create new regions. This follows the dismissal of a suit seeking to challenge the decision of the EC to only allow residents in the affected areas to vote in the referendum. According to the justices of the court, there is no genuine cause for interpretation, as the Constitution states unambiguously the discretionary power given to the Electoral Commission. Fred Jabano was in court for Citi News.
This suit was brought before the Supreme Court by private citizen Mayor Blexer and two others. In their case before the court, they wanted the court to give an interpretation to Article 5 of the Constitution, which states the procedures and processes for the creation of new regions. They argued that they believe that the new regions which were being carved out of the old regions should have voters of the old regions vote to agree or not in a referendum which would decide the creation of these regions. But in the decision of the court stated that there was no need, or they had not proven enough why the court should give any interpretation to a particular article. According to the justices of the Supreme Court, this article was unambiguous, it was clear, and therefore did not need any interpretation. The decision of the court therefore means that the Electoral Commission can go ahead with their planned referendum on December 27th, where selected areas within the proposed newly created regions would vote a yes or no and agree or not to the formation of these regions.
So what does this mean for plaintiffs? Albert Kwashiga is their lawyer, and he has expressed disappointment at the decision of the court.
First of all, let me say that I would not characterize what happened today as a clearance to the EC, because with or without the suit, the EC was going on with its process anyway. What this suit, I believe, has done is to bring some form of clarity and to affirm what they are already doing. But it's not like there was any restraint because of the suit in the court. They were going on anyway. You get it? So now you ask me about how I received this. My reaction, which I have expressed to the media much earlier in the day, and which I repeat today, and at this point, is that I am extremely disappointed that the Supreme Court did not agree with our claims before them, or our position before them. In fact, I was extremely hopeful that the Supreme Court would take this opportunity to go deep into the Constitution, especially the provisions which we allege were not clear or were ambiguous or were imprecise, and settle this matter in a way that, promotes some form of cohesion or unity. But it appears that that's not what the Supreme Court did today. So I am utterly disappointed that the Supreme Court came to the conclusion they came to. Well, I haven't. Let me place on record that I have not seen the full judgment. It was quite lengthy, okay, but it all boils down to the fact that the Supreme Court dismissed our suit. You get it? And my clients have held a view, and even now they still hold a view that the Article 5 of the Constitution 1992 and all the other clauses which attend with Article 5, right, gives a certain sense that where there is a need to create a region out of an existing administrative region, all persons qualified to be registered and to vote in those regions must partake or must vote in a referendum to decide whether or not a new region should be created out of the existing ones. And so our view of Article 5 and thereabouts, in which we took before the Supreme Court, is that when it comes to the creation of regions out of existing ones. Not only persons in the proposed regions should vote in a referendum, but persons across the entire region. But what the Supreme Court has done, and the effect is that every group of people in a region who complain about lack of development or any other matter can petition for the creation of a region. The danger is that we are headed for a fragmented Ghana, because every group of people can get up and ask for the creation of a region, and it should be possible on the basis of the Supreme Court decision.
Right, so let's go back to our earlier story, and we ask, should trainee teachers across the country prepare for the cancellation of the current academic semester? That is the unanswered question as a national strike by the Colleges of Education Teachers Association enters its 22nd day. With students desperate and striking teachers resolute, Citi Newsroom's Ashanti Regional reporter Hafiz Tijani has been monitoring developments.
Academic activities in all 46 colleges of education across the country have stalled following weeks of strike by the teachers. Students in some of the colleges have left the campuses, while the few who are staying back idle about. The teachers are on an indefinite strike to compel government to increase their market premiums and book and research allowance. Addressing journalists in Kumasi, Citi President Prince Obinhima described the directive by the National Council for Tertiary Education to withhold November salaries of the striking teachers as unlawful. He says members will not return to the negotiation table with government if the salaries are not validated and paid. CTAG has accused Public Relations Officer for the Education Ministry of churning out falsehood on issues relating to the strike action. Mr. Obinhima says the association will honor the invitation of the National Labour Commission, which is scheduled for Thursday.
We wish to state that the students we teach over there are not any different from the relatives we have. We have our relatives, we have our church members, we have our countrymen, we have our people there. We have slaved so much to bring the colleges up to the level that we are today. For having to start this diploma program from 2004 up to 2018 without due recognition, 14 good years. Anytime we wish to take the action, we think of the students. Anytime we attempt to take up the action, we think of the students. Now, we think that our people who have gone home, we have seen their plight. It is not anything, good to write home about. That is why we are taking this action. We are on this note calling on the students, calling on the parents, calling on civil society organizations, calling on church leaders, calling on the Christian Council, and what have you, the National House of Chiefs, all the people who have teacher education at heart to speak up and advise the government to do what they have to do. Because when we were passing the act to upgrade the colleges to tertiary status, government ought to have known that it wasn't going to be only students coming out, but they also were going to be responsible towards the teachers who were going to teach over there.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom here on Citi TV. We'll go for a short break, but when we come back, a little over 100,000 residents of Adenta have been given their Ghana cards as the registration exercise at Adenta comes to an end. Stick with us and we'll be right back.
RMG Ghana wishes all Ghanaian farmers a happy Farmers Day. We say, RMG Ghana Limited, agriculture on sustainable basis.
This is the point of view. We are live on Citi TV this and every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m.
Tune in to the point of view Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as Bernard Avlet takes the news further. He will bring the right guests, ask them the relevant questions, and get you the real insights you need on the big stories for the day.
All that the industry is saying is that this tax will be incident on the person it's intended to. But when it comes to the pricing itself, individual pricing, not only are the telcos even pricing for everybody. Bernard, I don't know which network you're on. The price you get on your network will be different from the price I get. So in terms of competition amongst our members, it's as intense as anything.
The Point of View with Bernard Avlet, Monday and Wednesday nights, only on Citi TV.
Welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. And let's get to some other stories. And a memorial service has been held in honor of the late Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Worgon constituency, Emmanuel Tremantin Ejiakon. The long-serving parliamentarian passed away in the United States last week after a short illness. Present were family members, government representatives, and well-wishers. And there's more in the following report.
The church auditorium was filled to capacity as family, friends, and loved ones honored the life of Emmanuel Tremantin Ejiakon. There was representation from government led by President Nana Akufo-Addo and Vice President Dr. Mamudu Bawumia. Praises were sung of the exemplary life of the late MP, while prayers were shared to strengthen the surviving family.
May your wisdom and your presence be with them through and through. These and many other things we ask. In the name of the Triune God. Amen.
The deceased was wished the best in the afterlife.
God be with you till we meet again.
It was a pensive mood while the family reflected over the void created by the death of the late legislator. For the New Patriotic Party, there's no better way of honoring the late MP than unifying the party at the constituency level ahead of the by-election.
The party is currently mourning, and unfortunately too for us, we have to also prepare the party for an election to get a member of parliament. The party, as I speak to you, we are yet to even put ourselves together in terms of coming to terms to the fact that we have lost our member of parliament. It's a very painful thing. And for us in the party, we intend celebrating this man by ensuring that whilst he is left, at least we'll keep a united party for him in the Ayawaso West Ogun, the greater Accra region, and in the MPP as a whole.
Son of Emmanuel Tremantin Ejiakon, Daniel Paddy Ejiakon, hailed his father for living a good life.
Just think about having the privilege to be around him every day. You know, a lot of love to give, a lot of advice, a lot of positivity, and that's all I can think about. Those are my memories of him.
A wife to the former legislator, Josephine Nana Ejiakon, urged mentees of the deceased to emulate his God-fearing life.
I think the young people should look at his life, what he did. He used to quote a lot of verses from the Bible.
when he was young in the church, he used to, he loved the word of God, and he used to learn all these verses. So when he had to use them, he didn't have to struggle. It came to him naturally. So I would advise all the young people to love the word of God, read the Bible, and internalize it into them, so that when it is appropriate, they will use the word of God to live in this world full of challenge.
For most of the people present here, the late Tramantin Ejaku lived a very exemplary and good life. Wishing that the young could take from him, they prayed for strength for the surviving family. Reporting for Citi News, Hansen Ajaman.
To our other stories, and after a 3-week process fraught with complaints and technical difficulties, the National Identification Authority has ended its Ghana card registration exercise at Adenta. So far, 104,000 residents of Adenta have registered, and they have been issued Ghana cards with Lankwantanan as its next destination. Citi News' and Shelley will follow the exercise.
Some of the challenges that characterized the registration process included network constraints, issues with the generation of the digital address code, extortion, negligence, and dereliction of duty by some of the National Identification Authority's officials. These issues practically slowed down the process.
You first have to join the queue for them to get your details down, and then afterwards you go and take your pictures and stuff, and then they will refer you to another place where you go and take your card. But the process took me about 1 week for me to get my card.
Actually, it was very slow, very, very slow. Since morning, there is no moving at all. I told it can come, so we should wait and have patience. So that is what we are doing now.
Nevertheless, over 10,000 residents were duly registered. The coordinator at the Adenta Police Station Registration Center summed up how the process has been so far.
The process has been very calm at my center. We have a lot of challenges, but we've crossed the bridge, so we thank God so much for bringing it to successfully. Okay, the challenges we faced was the people not getting their digital address, and they have to come to the center. You have to let them go back and get a digital address because it's quite important to this exercise. That is why we had to let them go, bring their digital address, and then come. Others go, they come back. Others go, they don't come back. But we've had quite some people who are been corresponding to the work that we've done so far.
For the residents, more modern ways needs to be adopted by the authority in the issuance of the Ghana card.
If they can do something like online for us to be in our homes, you just go to the net and you get your card. I think it will be good for us.
We recommend that most of the things that they took from us could be done online. So when they push it to online, we can just fill the forms online, and then when we come here, they just come and take our photos, and then we just go. So that will reduce the time that it takes us to get our things done.
Ghana's troubled fishing industry has received good news with the announcement of several impactful projects by the government. At a press briefing by the Ministry of Information, the government revealed its plans to spend $235 million on the construction of 10 coastal fishing harbors and landing sites across the country. Information Minister Kojo Ponkroma listed the beneficiary communities.
Government's vision to transform Ghana's fishing industry will be found on pages 18 and 19 of the NPP's 2016 manifesto. And there's a key pillar within that vision that says that top of the agenda, and here's a quote, top of the agenda for fisheries will be the program of building landing sites and storage facilities. And in fulfillment of that, we are now at the crossroads to approve and commence the construction of 10 harbors and landing sites in a number of areas. The 10 identified sites where the landing beaches will be constructed are Teshi in the Greater Accra region, Axim in the Western region, Dix Cove in the western region, Elmina in the central region, Winneba in the central region as well, Mumford in the central region, Sinyabreku in the central region, Fetegoma also in the central region, Muri in the central region, Keta in the Volta region. The development of the fish landing sites and ports is aimed at ensuring safe launching and landing of particularly artisanal fishing and canoes. It's also aimed at creating and maintaining a hygienic environment for the processing and the handling of fish, preventing and minimizing post-harvest losses and adding value to the fish caught by artisanal fishermen. Ladies and gentlemen, the fisheries sector plays a major role in the Ghanaian economy. It contributes about 3% of our GDP, we are told, and also has significant indirect contributions to the economy. And these include employment opportunities for marine fishermen, boatyard workers, suppliers of auxiliary goods and services, and exporting of the fish products to earn foreign exchange for the country. One of the significant expectations we have when these fish landing sites are completed is that about 12% of our total national fish stock, which is currently exported, will go up. And the completion of this project is expected to increase export volumes and directly increase the foreign exchange earnings of the country.
So some other stories, and the development of Ghana's railway industry has seen significant progress under the Akufo-Addo administration. Well, that is according to the Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah, as he announced the start of visibility studies for the development of metro rail transit systems to check congestion in Accra and Kumasi.
Metro or light rail transit systems that you may have heard about recently. Feasibility studies commenced in 2018 with the objective to identify the map out of the right of way for the development of the metro light rail transit systems in Accra and Kumasi. The vision will be pursued in 2019 to address the negative impacts of congestion in Accra and Kumasi. The Ghana Railway Company Limited has also signed an MOU with the George Grant University for Mines and Technology at Takwa to transform the training school, the railway training school, into an accredited tertiary institution. Under this MOU, the school will in 2019 commence to run courses in railways related subjects such as railway engineering, signaling and telecommunication, and infrastructure development to build these lines, as I'm mentioning to you. And while we are working on the BOT arrangements where we can bring in private players also to develop some of the lines, it's important to build local capacity so that we don't just build a line, it's only for them to run down sometime shortly, but we have very skilled professionals from this institution who can manage that industry for us.
You're still watching Citi Newsroom here on Citi TV. We pause here. When we come back, we'll bring you excerpts and reactions from Bernard Avle's lecture on rethinking the national conversation. Don't go away.
Hi, good morning. You're welcome to The Big Issue. The Big Issue is live from our studios here at number 11, Dr. Martin Lupin Adabraka in Accra.
It's engaging, detailed, and loaded with factual and incisive analysis. It's The Big Issue, your preferred Saturday morning news and current affairs analysis program on Citi TV.
Okay, it has nothing to do with his blackness, and we have to stop that. See, we are trying to match ourselves up to a certain standard in the Western world. And then when you go and you are caught and you do things wrong in the adult, then you come and say, hey, you are doing this because I'm black.
It's The Big Issue with Sela Madonu on Citi TV. This and every Saturday at 9 a.m.
Welcome back to the Citi Newsroom here on Citi TV. Now, his was not an inaugural speech by a newly elected president to inspire a despairing lot, but it achieved even more, awakening the conscience of the nation. The inaugural lecture by GJA Journalist of the Year, Bernardino Kokuavle, has gained national traction, leading the way on social media trend listings.
So just in case you missed the lecture, watch out for its repeat at 9 p.m. on The Point of View tonight. But first, here are excerpts and reactions of the lecture put together by Caleb Kuda.
Fearing sin more than death was a potent prayer by Director General Welfare of the Ghana Police, COP Dr. George Akuf-Dampare, for Ghanaians.
And as the speaker comes forth to speak, you take full control of him and the ideas you've given to him for him to share with us. We will end up individually taking something home as we go out there to continue our life to fear sin more than death.
Forget about the 95 Theses of Martin Luther, because that prayer prepared the hearts of the audience for the nailing of the 7-point Bernard-Avle Treatise on the wall of the conscience of Ghanaians.
We have more degrees, but less sense. More knowledge, but less judgment. We have many more experts, but even more problems. We have more medicine, but less wellness. We've been all the way to the moon and back, but we have trouble crossing the street to meet a new neighbor. We have conquered outer space, but not inner space. We've done larger things, but not better things. We've cleaned up the air, but polluted the soul. We've split the atom, but not our prejudice.
From citizens to political leaders, religious leaders, and the media, the Avle Treatise took on the system and 3 paradoxes.
Paradox 1, activity without productivity. Ghana's population is nearing 30 million. Our rebased GDP is about $50 billion. Singapore has a population of 5 million. That's a sixth of our population. Their GDP is $300 billion. That's 6 times our GDP. Despite the hustle and bustle at Kantamanto, at traffic lights, at Xiamen Magazine, at Abutokai, despite all the kpakpakpa moves, we've grown to learn that motion doesn't equal progress, and activity cannot equate to impact or productivity. We need to begin a new conversation about value addition. We need a new conversation on economic productivity. We need a new conversation about ownership and regaining the commanding heights of the Ghanaian economy. And the debate in parliament will not be enough. Paradox 2, religion without morality. 70% of us go to church on Sunday. About 20-something% go to mosque on Friday. The rest believe in Odumankuma, Mausokbo Liza, Allah. Our religious elite today seem to be imprisoned. The message of prosperity has taken over and eclipsed the message of sufficiency and simplicity. In our large churches, we are clapping hands and shooting the devil, while our minds are still enslaved by the chains of greed and selfishness. The gospel of Christ was meant to bring life and bring it in great abundance. But we live in a nation that has little regard for it. Deaths are reported as statistics, and the spate of loss of human life on our roads point to a nation which seems to have lost its grip on what the true value of life is. 7 banks collapsed in the space of a year. Thousands of jobs lost. Millions of invested funds disappeared into thin air. As of now, we are still waiting for somebody to be brought to book. But this is the same society where people who steal dustbins get 3 years in prison, while those whose actions and inactions rob us of millions that could build hospitals, roads, and schools walk about in not just freedom but impunity. 7 hospitals could not find space to treat a 72-year-old man whose family moved from one hospital to another from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., driving over 19 kilometers to get to a hospital whose doctors and nurses pray on Sundays and bow on Fridays. Paradox number 3. It looks like our media and our politics has reached an interesting plateau, where now what you used to send thrills down our ears sends chills down our spines, because the plateau is where the pace of growth slows down and spirits begin to dampen. Our politics today is dominated by fighting talk and brinkmanship, occupying our airwaves. People whose main focus is how to capture power while in opposition, or how to retain it when in government. In attaining maturity, we are finding out that some of
45 minutes passed by as though it was a minute. Mr. Avle's authoritative lecture was not merely secured on the power of oratory, but firmly anchored on the integrity, passion, and love for country of the man honored as the GJA Journalist of the Year.
We sunk over $1 million in 16 hospitals. Not one of them is working. We must move the conversation from concrete buildings to how many human lives are being saved in our public institutions. We must go back to focus on the patient and preventive health in our health reportage. We need to insist on a working recycling program, and every house needs a toilet. It's a national disgrace for 20% of the population to do open defecation. And on consistent rankings of sanitation, Ghana does abysmally. Our big suit and our big English notwithstanding. We must go back to basics. For every nation to develop, we must take care of our simple issue of disposal of waste. We can't be repeating the mistakes of the past and hope to have something different for our children. I want to urge you to rise up and insist on good citizenship, better leadership, and greater commitment to the national good. Let's rise up. God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong, bold to defend forever the cause of freedom and of right. Fill our hearts with true humility. Make us cherish fearless honesty and help us to resist the oppressor's rule with all our will.
In the end, the audience couldn't have enough. In obedience to Mr. Avle's call, they could only pledge their love and toil to the land of their birth in the years to be. For Citi News, Caleb Kuda.
And to some other stories, and the president, Nana Addo Dankwa has honored the memory of legendary Ghanaian politician Joseph Boakye Dankwa with the opening of a memorial center at Chebi on Wednesday.
JB Dankwa is considered an ideological founder of the New Patriotic Party, and the ceremony attracted several of the leading members of the governing party. Presidential correspondent Sami Biafe has more from the ceremony.
Speaking at a ceremony to commission a newly built JB Dankwa Memorial Center at Chebi in the Eastern Region, President Akufo-Addo says the memory of the doyen of Ghana politics will continue to live on as long as the country Ghana lives. JB Dankwa, according to President Akufo-Addo, was an educationist, freedom fighter, and a historian whose contributions can never be forgotten.
Even though Dankwa never exercised executive authority in the state, his influence on Ghanaian history has been truly astonishing and can be felt in virtually all areas of our national life: constitutional, cultural, economic, educational, intellectual, moral, political, and religious. Several key institutions of our country owe their inception directly to his work: the Cocoa Marketing Board, the University of Ghana, Lagos, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Kumasi, the Bank of Ghana, Ghana Commercial Bank, and Accra Sports Stadium, amongst others. Despite the passionate controversies that engulfed his life, he remained remarkably free of personal animus and hatreds.
The Memorial Center, which was built with support from the Chinese government, will house a library and an ICT center.
Right, and that's it for the Citi Newsroom. For more, do visit citinewsroom.com. My name is Frema Adunyame.
And my name is Quao. Thank you very much for watching.